Hello? Oh, there we are.
And we're live.
Hey, Shawn.
Hey, Sherry. How's it going?
You know
Just
what? We just came from the hard stuff is okay from our group. We always do our Facebook afterwards and our LinkedIn and YouTube. And I will tell you, I am in the thick of the hard stuff. And so right before we went live, I love what you were saying. You said we've been talking about this stuff for a long time and it even applies to us.
maybe especially so. But yeah, the same themes, the same things we've noticed. I think calling it out seemed to be helpful for you in the way that we contain multitudes, that we can experience everything at the same time: joy, sadness, grief, fill it in, everything outside of that too. Just, we are so I wanted to say large, but like we are expansive and we contain these multiple things. And I think remembering that, as I'm have some hard stuff I'm going through too, but like for me, I find a lot of comfort in that thought. I'm not sure about like how does that resonate with you usually, especially now that you're in it. Like,
Yeah, I actually do too. You mean the idea that we can contain multitudes?
mhm.
So I was actually practicing yesterday. I was really, really in deep grief, and my son said, "Let's go to the park. Let's get out of the house." Bless his heart,
Mm.
love my son.
Yeah,
And when we were at the park, I was practicing flower, tree. Like practicing really zeroing my attention on something beautiful because
mhm.
I know that I know we can have joy and grief at the same time. Sometimes grief can feel like it is a like it's the undertow. And
Yeah.
it yeah. So it is comforting to be reminded and it was a really helpful thing to practice that.
Hmm.
Because it really is. I'm
It's
looking, actually have some marigolds on my table, and it may feel like it's all happening at once, but the grief does pause itself to see the
mhm.
orange.
Yep. It's a pinprick of light, perhaps, my friend is so fond of sharing, right?
Yes. Yes. How about for you? Does it bring you comfort when you say that like we contain multitudes?
It does. So we were going to talk about something completely different today, and part of that was the multitudes of you can have enthusiasm and excitement for something, and also be going through grief or these hard times. I use grief as like my go-to hard time. Like, um, I mean, it's kind of funny to say it that way, but like, um, yeah, but yeah, like we were talking about before about being excited for something when you're kind of in it too, looking forward to something in the future. Sometimes helps,
Yeah.
sometimes not, and that's okay. But yeah, the ability to get stuff done. And I know you brought up this, if you don't mind me sharing, this idea of like the cardboard cherry of trying to present that everything's fine when everything's not fine. And we have this space so that hopefully isn't happening. But sometimes you have to show up for clients, for work, for other people in your life. And yeah, knowing that that's okay, like almost having permission to not be the puddle all the time, even though you feel like the puddle all the time. I think I find helpful in like, okay, like it's not a compartment. It's like I can just shift to the side that's not melting for a short time.
Yes. You know what, Shawn? And you know what I absolutely love? I don't know if you noticed this, but so when we always do this live stream following a group that we do called the Hard Stuff is Okay. And in
Hmm.
our previous group, I wrote down when you said we should give ourselves permission to just fumble it and fumble around, like so that
Hmm.
like coming onto a live stream like this and fumbling around, not knowing what we're going to say or not knowing what's going to emerge. And yet, what you just said now, which I loved every bit as much, is we can also give ourselves permission to come to and I'm going to use the word perform, not, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but sometimes we do need to perform. I've got a coaching call at 4:00 and I need to show up for that person. That's my commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you said both, you know, it's great.
Oh.
Yeah. And it just depends. Like, I think this is where presence really comes into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here with my friend Shawn, and we've committed to being authentic. I think we never, I don't know if we ever said that, but I think we did, right? And
Yeah.
so we've committed to being authentic. So we come on here and we're not going to be like, okay, you know, I'm not going through grief and you're not going through what you're going through. We're going to be real because we want to help normalize that people go through hard times.
Yeah. And that, what I really loved from our group today, we had one other person on, and she brought up going and posting dirty dishes in the
Yes,
sink on social media, not the perfect curated, like I have all the crystal high end, you
right.
know. It's like, no, this is my life. Dishes get dirty, dishes get cleaned, you know.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna switch us just for a minute because I just
Okay.
remember I really did want to talk about what we said we were going to talk about because I'm experiencing it in this moment. And what it
Mm-hmm.
is that when we're willing to show up with people and be ourselves, to be authentic, even to the extent of saying, as I did to you, I am deep in the grief right now, Shawn. Like that's what I said
Mm-hmm.
on our other call. What happens is connection. And what happens when I feel connection is there's a softening of the hard stuff. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's to me, that's the magic. It's so hard to say to someone, I'm really deep in grief or I'm having a hard time. Yet when we do, um, it it helps.
I'm so glad it helps. And because full disclosure, before we had our meeting today, you're like, I am in it. I don't think I have the capacity to do this, what we're doing right now. And in a half hour of just connecting and talking about it and having that space, you're like, okay, I can't wait to get on to the next. I mean, you didn't say I can't wait to, but
I
you're like,
know.
hey, I had these things I wanted to highlight. Let's do this thing that we usually do after it. I can show up for it, you know, and you did very beautifully. And I think just that illustrative example of a half hour of talking with people in a space that you feel safe in and can do what you
Yes.
got to do, and you're like, okay, well, let's just keep it rolling, right? So there's a little bit of like momentum. I don't know what kind of momentum, but some type of momentum of I can keep going here and not get stuck in the quicksand.
Yes. I mean, is that, I mean, you're pointing out exactly that is the that was my experience. Is that your experience also? Like when you talk about
Hmm.
the connection that happens.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the interesting thing is, and this we hear this quite a bit, right, in this group, and also when I do the grief group in Growth Day, that you know I don't want to burden people. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to like
Hmm.
be the Debbie Downer like from SNL or you know what I mean, like so,
Right.
and yet, it is one of the things that really connects us as people.
It really does. I wonder, and maybe for a future conversation. I know we're going to do this a short time. We always do this longer than we say we're going to
I
do, which
know.
is always so funny to me. But are there times where it's like you have to be with the right people in the right space
Yeah.
sometimes? Is the goal to be like that 100% with everyone around you, or is it to be able to pick and choose? I never really considered that. So I don't know.
That's a
You know what
good,
I mean?
yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I think it's one for each of us to hold and to be curious about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I think we were talking about this on that group that we just did. there can be a spectrum, right? Like there's a whole spectrum of how like hey, hi, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. How are you doing? Right? There's that. Or there's like, hey, how you
Hmm.
doing? And there's like, okay, kind of going through a little bumpy time right now. There's like,
Hmm.
hey, oh my gosh, I've just experienced some deaths in my life. It's a heavy time, but I'm glad to be here with you. There's a whole spectrum.
Yeah. I think it depends on, we've talked about this before too. It depends on the person. Like, um, nobody handles these things the exact same way. And so someone might also need different levels of engagement when you're sharing, like not from the receiving. I don't know. I just got in my head in this in a whole new way that I wasn't expecting. And that's part of why we do this. This is so much fun.
Right. And I'm going to go back to my line that, permission to fumble through it. Like, I
Hmm.
think to me, that was a brilliant thing that you said. And I really would welcome all of us or invite everybody to really, where is it safe to do that in our lives? Where is it safe to just be like, I don't know. I don't know even what I want to say, but can I just throw some spaghetti at the wall? And that helps us clarify what's going on for us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right. I just saw on my side, Evan Sutton was trying to get my attention in the chat.
Oh,
I guess hi. So hi, hi, hi.
hi.
Wow. Lots of hi, hi, hi. Okay.
That's great. I know we're streaming to several different places, so some of the comments are coming in and some aren't, and that's its own little fumbling around that happens when you're streaming to multiple places. Um, I think just the last thing I wanted to say again, because I think that this was the important, or typically is one of the most important things, is that yeah, if we allow ourselves to show up, and this was what we were all talking about on that last call, sometimes simply being around other human beings, it's not even that there's like great wisdom to share, or you, Shawn, are going to say exactly the thing that's going to solve whatever's going on for me. But sometimes simply just being around people, whether it's real time or even online, um, can add that energy that we need.
Hmm. And I think I love that. And the idea, the thing that dropped in for me is just like, how are we actively building that infrastructure maybe in our lives? You know, because I think that's something, I know in certain times in my life, you don't think about it till you need it. And sometimes that could be too late, or it makes it it's the thing where like if it's there and you're able to access the people to kind of help connect with, or the places, or whatnot. Just like I just go there, and not like where do I gotta go? Oh my gosh, like is it gonna be okay? Like sometimes I don't know.
You do know that. No, what you're saying,
Yeah.
what you're saying,
You do know.
well, you do, because what you're saying is really important. And I know we have to go in just a minute or two, but let me just say, so one of the things that my dear son did for me is when we were out walking in the park, he was kind of, asking me, what do you think might support you during this time? Like, and we had to talk about a couple things. And today he said, um, Mom, do you want to write down some of those things we talked about? And it's kind of
Mm.
exactly what you were saying in a way, which is like to be prepared. Like I now have a list of things that do help support me when I'm really in the thick of the grief. And one of them happened to be a list of people that I know I can call unconditionally, and that I don't have to worry about being a burden, that they're friendships I've, nourished. And to your point, my son said to me, I hope you feel really proud of yourself that you have developed friendships over the years so that when
Mm.
things are hard, you have people to turn to. And I think,
Wow.
right, that, like, first of all, very astute for a 25-year-old to see, right?
Hmm.
Say, but I think that's what you're saying. Like, so anybody listening now or in the future, maybe you're not going through a hard time, and good, bless your heart for that. And how do we set up our lives so that when hard things happen, we do have the support we need?
Yes. Expertly said. Perfectly said.
I was
Perfectly.
echoing.
I know why I said expertly said, but yeah. Well.
That was your point. I was just echoing it, and I wanted to just drive it home because it's true. It's important. Those guys in my spiritual practice, they will often say, you know, these are the times we practice for.
Mhm.
I sit on the meditation cushion every day, and a lot of times it's great, but it's not like life changing. And then there's the days where you're like, I'm glad I know how to sit on a meditation cushion.
I needed that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else before we wander on our way?
Uh, I mean, other than I'm so glad we did this, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we were able to have this conversation today with in the previous group and this wrap up thing. Um, yeah, I think I'm also kind of on a side note, completely. I forgot to eat lunch, so I'm starting to feel my attention drift.
Yeah.
So this might be a good time to jump off. But um, yeah, thank you,
Awesome.
Sherry.
Thank you, Shawn. I'm so glad. And I just so appreciate, and to you, to anybody who's here now, who anybody who'll watch it later. Yeah, thanks. And let's normalize these conversations. Let's all do that together with the people that we love. Thank
Definitely.
you. See you
Thanks,
next
Sherry.
time.
See ya.